Hey everyone and welcome! Today we're going to tackle one of the best topics out there, vacations. But more than that, we're going to learn how to talk all about an amazing trip, share your best stories, and ask about other people's adventures, all in Spanish. Let's get right into it. So, just think about it for a second. You get back from this incredible trip, and you're bursting with stories to tell. How do you actually share those memories? Right? It's not just about listing off places you went, it's about telling a story. And today, we are going to build the exact toolkit you need to become that storyteller. You know, every great story really starts with the action. So let's kick off our virtual vacation by packing our vocabulary with all the fun and exciting things we're going to do. Okay, think of this as your travel brochure, packed with all these potential adventures. So who are you on this trip? Are you the type to go camping? That's acampar. Or maybe go for a long hike, dar una caminata. Or maybe you're more of a city person, visiting museums, visitar un museo, and just taking a ton of photos, tomar fotos. This is basically our checklist of core experiences to start building that story. Let's zoom in on this one for a second. Hacer una excursión. This phrase is so useful. It's perfect for describing those smaller adventures within your main trip, like a day trip to a nearby town or a guided tour of some ruins. It's the kind of detail that really makes a travel story pop. So, after a super long day of exploring and having fun, you're going to need a place to crash. So let's move on to the next chapter of our story, checking into our accommodation. All right, here's your survival guide for your home base. You've got everything from the general word for lodging, which is el alojamiento, all the way to the key itself, la llave. This is the vocabulary that gets you from the front door to your room, whether you need a room for one person, una habitación individual, or for two, una habitación doble. And look at this. The whole check-in process is laid out so perfectly. It's just a simple, logical flow. First up, you've got to make a reservation, hacer una reservación. Then you head to the reception desk, la recepción. And finally, you get the key, la llave. Just 3 simple steps, and boom, you're all checked in and ready to relax. I mean, no vacation is really complete without bringing a little something back with you, right? So let's take our story to one of the most vibrant, exciting places you can visit, an open-air market, or as they say in Spanish, a mercado al aire libre. Just imagine you're walking through all the stalls. What are you looking for? Maybe some beautiful handmade jewelry, las joyas, like a cool ring, el anillo, or a necklace, el collar. Or maybe you just want a general souvenir to remember your trip by, un recuerdo. This is the vocabulary of treasures. Now, here's a pro tip. In a lot of these markets, the price you see on the tag isn't always the final price. And this is where a really crucial skill and word comes in, regatear, which means to bargain. And listen, it's not just about saving money. It's often a really fun and expected part of the whole cultural experience. And here's kind of how that little dance might start. You, the buyer, could say something like, ¿Podría ver el collar? Could I see the necklace? Then you admire it, of course. ¡Qué bello! How beautiful! And then the seller might come back with an offer. Le dejo el collar en 200 pesos. I'll give you the necklace for 200 pesos. And that is where the fun really begins. Okay, so we've gathered all these experiences, we've bought some cool stuff on our virtual trip, but to really share the story with someone, you can't just make statements. You've got to be able to ask questions and, of course, answer them. And yeah, that's the absolute key right there. These things called interrogatives are the tools that turn your monologue into a real live conversation. They let you dig deeper into someone's story and find out the who, what, where, when, and why of any adventure. They're essential. Now, in Spanish, there's this really important visual clue you have to know about. See that little accent mark on the question word, cuándo? That tiny mark is so powerful. It's what tells you you're asking a question. Without it, the word cuándo just means when inside a regular sentence. It's a tiny detail, but it has a huge impact on the meaning. So this slide right here, this is your master list. These are the fundamental building blocks for getting any piece of information you need. You've got qué for what, dónde for where, cuándo for when. If you can master these, you can ask about pretty much any part of someone's vacation story. All right, we have the words for things to do, and we have the question words. There's just one more major piece to this puzzle, and honestly, it's the most important one for talking about a trip that's already over, the past tense. Let's just look at this super simple timeline. We're all living and speaking in the now, right? That's the present tense. But our amazing vacation happened last week. So to talk about those actions that are already done, we need to jump back on the timeline. And to do that, we need a special tool called the preterite tense. So, what exactly is the preterite? Well, it's for the main events, the highlights of your trip, the things that started and, this is the important part, finished in the past. You can think of it like the headline news of your vacation story. So, how do we actually do it? Well, for regular verbs that end in AR, like tomar or visitar, it's actually pretty simple. You just chop off the AR at the end and add one of these new endings. So for I, you add A. I took becomes yo tomé. For you, you add aste. So you visited is tú visitaste. See? It follows this really nice, predictable pattern. And here is where it all comes together beautifully. We take our verb visitar, we grab the nosotros ending from the last slide, which is amos, and we stick it together with the vocabulary we learned way back at the beginning, and we get nosotros visitamos un museo. We visited a museum, a complete memory, a perfect sentence in the past. Of course, it's Spanish, so you know there are going to be some irregular verbs. But here's a fantastic little shortcut for you. Two of the most common verbs you'll ever use, ir, to go, and ser, to be, have the exact same forms in the preterite. Just look at the chart. Fui, fuiste, fue. The only way you know if someone is saying I went or I was is from the context of the sentence. Pretty cool, huh? And here we see it in action one more time. The word ayer, which means yesterday, tips us off that we're in the past. Yo fui means I went, and we've tied it right back to our shopping trip from earlier. See how all these different pieces are finally connecting to build a really detailed story? Wow, we have covered so much ground today. We've gathered vocabulary for activities, for hotels, for markets. We've learned how to ask all the right questions. And most importantly, we learned how to place our story firmly in the past by using the preterite tense. You know, when it comes right down to it, what we've built here today isn't just a bunch of vocabulary lists and grammar rules. It's really a passport. You now have the essential framework to go out and share your own adventures and to really connect with other people through their stories. So the only question left is the one right there on the screen. What story will you tell next?